All right, guys, welcome to a brand new episode of SideQuest Podcast. Listen in and level up. I have a great episode for you today, but first, as always, let's get through the show notes. If you're not following the Facebook page, head over to Facebook, type SideQuest Fitness into the search bar, and like the page. There, you're going to get updates on podcast episodes, articles when they get posted, and you're going to get a brand new taco recipe every Tuesday for taco camp. Plus lots of other shenanigans and nerd talk throughout the week, so make sure you head over to Facebook. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is SideQuestFM. If you want to see some cool videos and random stuff on Instagram as well, you can follow me on Instagram, same handle, SideQuestFM, or follow me on Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. Send me your questions. I want to get all the questions from you, help you as much as I can on your fitness journey or your journey in life, whatever it may be. But head over to Snapchat, SideQuestFit. Follow me there. You get a little more personal, in-depth look at the shenanigans I get into throughout every day. But I do love getting questions from the community, so please send them out to me. If you have not left a review for the podcast, please head over to iTunes. If you're not listening on iTunes and you're listening on SoundCloud or Stitcher, leave a review there as well. When you leave reviews, it helps me move up the charts on the iTunes store so that more people can see and hear the amazing guests that I've had on and have on each and every single week. So make sure you head over there. And don't forget, if you haven't picked up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss, head over to sidequestfitness.com/7 principles, and you can pick up your copy of the 7 Principles of Fat Loss. These are the same 7 principles I follow each and every day and teach my clients to help them shred away more body fat, unlock heroic strength, and just look better naked. So if you want to unlock strength or just look better naked in the mirror, head over again, grab those 7 principles of fat loss, and start following those today. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. So over the last few months, you have heard me talking about my online clients, and you've heard from a few of my online clients as well about what they've done on their fitness quest with me. With summer heading in, I am taking a few more clients on to help people get ready for summer, help you get ready for bikini season or swimsuit season, or maybe this is your first time. Maybe you've decided that that's it. You want to get in shape, and you need someone to help you with your journey. On your journey, you need a Gandalf and a Samwise to guide you as you head into Frodo. And I am your Gandalf and Samwise, all packed in to one. I am taking on a few more clients. If you are interested, head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and check out the page. You can apply there. You can find out more about what coaching entails and also see some of the amazing transformations that my clients have had while working with me. So head over to sidequestfitness.com/coach and apply today. What is up, everyone? Welcome to the show. I have a great guest for you today. It has been almost 2 years since he came on a solo episode and about a year since he was on Coach's Corner. He disappeared for a little while, but now he's back and back with a vengeance. My boy Mason Woodruff joins me on the podcast today to chat about what he's been up to, why he took a break from writing, why putting your trust in the process is so important, and why self-acceptance is one of the biggest keys you can discover and unlock that will help you live in a more awesome life. Mason and I have a lot of fun on this episode, so how about I shut up and let you guys check out this interview with Mason Woodruff.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key band right here. You wanna meet them, there's no better way to greet them than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I have a great returning guest for you this time. It has been at least a year since he was on for something. It's been a while. He kind of ninja vanished for a little bit from the internet, it seemed like, and then he reappeared. And his biceps were even bigger, which made me even more jealous. And he was still deadlifting more than me. So, like most people do. But I'm glad to have the one and the only, the sweet Southern gentleman himself, whose team had the glorious chance to lose to the national title winning North Carolina Tar Heels. I had to get that in there, Mason. I had to. You know it. Mason Woodruff, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me, Robbie. And
if people can see your face right now, it's
back from the dead to get stabbed in the back again.
Have you ever seen when you said that reminded me that, have you ever seen the Family Guy skit where like Jesus raises River Phoenix from the dead, and he's like, yeah, so I raised River Phoenix from the dead last night when we went back to the Scorpion Club, and he did it again.
Haven't seen that, but
yeah,
that's how I feel. Yeah.
Well, dude, how's things, man? Because you were like crushing it, like doing some work and writing, and I know you got busy with things in Arkansas, but like, what's been up? How's life?
Life is good, man. Despite being off the map on the fitness scene as much, I've been in the fitness industry still, more on the, I guess, the business side or the gym management, running a few gyms here in Arkansas and across the South. And just experimenting with a lot of different things and a lot of different interests. I'm a serial hobbyist, and like many of us.
What have you learned from that experience?
Oh man, a lot of stuff. I think probably the thing that stands out the most would be, especially now coming back, it's good to experiment, and it's good to take advantage of opportunities. So while I probably strayed from my true north a little bit and strayed away from what I've always wanted to do or what I want my end game to look like, maybe, I think it was useful and probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. And sometimes you kind of have to take a step back or have a minor setback for the major comeback, as my favorite rapper would say. And I think that's it. I think doing the things that we do in the fitness industry as a fitness professional, if you really stand out, and I think being in the online space definitely separates you from a lot of other people in the fitness professional realm, there's going to be a ton of opportunities that come up and open up. And I don't know, I think some might not necessarily agree with your end game, but you got to capitalize when you can.
Why do you think people wouldn't so what is your end game, Mason? Like, cause that's a question I've been thinking about myself. You know, it's very easy when a client comes to you and they're like, my end game is to lose 20 pounds. That's your end game. But for us, it's like, I want to help people. Of course I want to help people, but is there an end game? Like, I'm still trying to figure that out in my own life. So what is your end game?
Sure. So I think originally, like all of us, I graduate from college, got all these worthless certifications, and I'm working with some people, and I decide it's, I really want to share my ideas with the world. So I start that, and then that evolves, and it turns into more of I want to build a lifestyle business. So I've worked some really terrible jobs, none of them in the fitness industry. Luckily, the fitness industry is the place to go if you don't really want to work hard. That's halfway a joke. I think the lifestyle business is probably the best way to sum it up. So I wanted to build something and to do something that I could have autonomy and flexibility in what my days look like. I could choose who I wanted to work with and what I wanted to work on. And I think that's more important than anything else to me. So taking the step in the direction that I've been in running these gyms, one, kind of like college, it gives you a good idea on what you don't want to do. So I learned a ton of stuff about business while learning exactly what I don't want to do in the fitness industry. I guess the end game would be creating that lifestyle brand where I've got the freedom to do what I want and work on what I want, create what I want, when I want, with who I want.
So what are you creating on right now? What are you really passionate about that you're working on?
I would love to say more writing. I love writing, and I love the timeless nature of it. So I love the fact that I can look back 2 or 3 years ago at stuff I've written and just cringe, and I love that evolution that you can see. And I can only imagine how cool it would be if, 10, 20 years from now, I can look at some of the old stuff and just say, wow, I was an idiot. Or, wow, insightful, dude. But, they say anybody who says they're insightful is actually not insightful, but screw them. I feel like I'm pretty insightful. But no, right now, I think I'm putting a lot of effort into probably more video, getting on to video. That seems to be the way the world is going. People don't love to read as much. They don't, we're just bombarded with content and article after article, or click here. So video is a good way to get your message and to, like you said, help a lot of people in a clear and concise way that is going to have a greater reach. That's part of the downside. And honestly, that's probably what led me astray for a little bit. Is it's easy to get discouraged as a writer because it's hard to get those readers. It's hard to get eyes on your work. And when you don't, it's easy to feel like you're not breaking through the noise. So, video, I guess video is a big one now. Not to say I'm not writing. I'm definitely writing, probably more than ever. And I feel like, just continuing to perfect that craft and ongoing journey.
So, everyone here knows I write. I have a feeling there are probably some people who just listen to the podcast and never read anything I write, which is, hey, you're right. Some people literally just are like, listen, I can listen to something, I can watch a video. Like, it takes too much attention for me to read. Understandable. I get it. But I think you're right. It's timeless. And when it's good writing, like, you're going to get drawn in. Like, they could not like writing, but, if a new Harry Potter book comes out, they're going to buy it because it's good writing. But it is true that it's discouraging when you don't get those things. But Mason, what encourages you as a writer?
I guess at the end of the day, it would be the going back to the helping people. So that's why I initially started. It's why I love Jill Coleman. You've had Jill on the podcast before, right? Yeah,
I was standing right beside her in San Diego and didn't say what's up because Rowan and I were in a conversation, and I meant to say hello, and I just never got a chance to say hello.
Dick move. Dick move.
We were talking, and she was talking to like Nagar, and we were hanging out and stuff. But I didn't get to say hello because she was in a conversation. I didn't want to be rude and be like, excuse me, let me do this weird bar thing where I jab my head into your 3-way conversation. Like I'm some ridiculous Jersey bro who's like, hey, yo, baby, I just want to say thank you. Like, get out of here.
I understand. Well, with Jill, sorry to sidetrack us there. With Jill, she has a lot of great stuff, but a long time ago, she had, just the draw the line in the sand, and, you can't appeal to everyone, and just basically declaring what you stand for. So there's a lot of, like we all know, there's a ton of nonsense in the fitness industry. There's a lot of money to be made by selling out or by promoting things that are just junk or waste of money. So there's a lot of that. And I would love to continue to educate not only on just the basics of fitness and helping people gain confidence and increase their muscle mass and all that good stuff. But I would also like people to not have such a negative connotation towards the fitness industry in general. So because there's so much crap, guys like you and I, we catch a lot of flack for that. It really kind of makes us look bad. So a rising tide rises all ships. So continue to shed good information.
Yeah, and I think the thing about that you have to that most people have to understand is that if you look at it in a long-term, stance, the people who are shit might last a year. They might last less. or they might last, 2 years or less. Like, they're not going to be around for a long time. But the people who have a following and give you good information are going to be there because they care. Deep down, ultimately, it all comes down to they care. And if they're just after your money, they're just going to be after your money. It's one of the big things that I remember my grandfather telling me once, and I know Gary Vee has said it before. My grandfather didn't say it like Gary Vee said it, but it was similar. People before profits. That's what matters. And, when you give and give and give, the world will come to you. It will happen, and it won't be easy, but, giving is, better than receiving, I guess. But, no, I agree with that. I think there's a lot of shit out there, but so you did take a break, and this is my question that I had written down. What led to your break and write? I know you were busy with work and stuff, but I mean, if it's something that brings value to your life, what made you put the pen down?
Well, there was some writing outside of probably the fitness industry. I would write a little bit here and there on business management, investing, stuff like that, stuff that's not necessarily, or maybe some personal development, but not that closely related to the fitness industry. I think a big thing for me was, I don't know, definitely wouldn't call it burnout. So I wouldn't say I was burned out from writing or anything like that. I would say that my perspective and what I had to share, I felt like kind of reached a peak to where, with everything else, or with all of the other interests in my life, they had kind of overpowered fitness. And, I spent a ton of time consuming content. So books in 2016, it's 2017, right? 2016, I read 62 books.
Jesus Christ.
Voracious reader, podcasts, YouTube. I mean, I very rarely, if I watch TV, it's, like at the end of the day with a girlfriend. But if it's anything, it's probably going to be reading, podcasts. And I traveled a lot for work, so podcasts all the time.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of what I was consuming wasn't necessarily relevant to the fitness industry. So I didn't feel like what I had to share in the fitness industry was worth sharing at the time, or I wanted to kind of refresh my views. I remember John Goodman from the PTDC said something a long time ago about how he would almost disconnect from everybody from the fitness industry for an extended period of time. So his viewpoints and the way he looked at things weren't clouded by everyone else's. And I really tried to do that a little bit, probably more unknowingly than I'd like to admit. But it was really just a refresher period. And now that I've come back to writing more about fitness. To be honest with you, to sound a little conceited maybe, but it's a different quality of writing. It's a higher quality of writing and information.
So, you mentioned burnout, and I think that's important for any career that you're in. It doesn't matter whether you are, an entrepreneur, whether you're a writer, an author, an actor, a programmer of whatever kind, or you just work at a company for too long and deal with too much shit. You burn out. It happens in relationships as well. So you took that break, you were burned out. What did you discover about yourself? Like, in that time period, what's the most important thing you discovered about yourself?
I think I would have to say that my desire for learning and my desire for creating new habits, new systems, new skills, and just that love for continuous development will create endless opportunities. So, it's hard to say now. But a lot of times you'll hear people say, late in life or on their deathbed or whatever, I wish someone would have told me it's going to be okay. I've really achieved a sense of calmness or equanimity about my life and about the things I'm doing. And it's enabled me to kind of step back and not worry so much about just the day-to-day crap, and about I need to do this, or I need to do this, or stress about this, and worry about everything that's not in my hands or the things I can't control. I've really come to learn that if you put in the work and you trust in the process, that it works out nearly every time. It really just does. So I don't think I've been extremely lucky in a lot of things, but I truly believe that luck comes from putting in the work, and, building a body of work, building a skill set that is applicable to any situation. And then you just seem to get lucky all the time.
It's an interesting concept to because you think that luck is just drop of the hat. You just go to Vegas, you put in a quarter, and like luck is you get the first pull. I mean, sure, maybe that happens to some people. Not that gambling is a good analogy, but that's the first thing that comes to mind.
I'm a terrible gambler. I'm a terrible gambler for some reason.
What do you? Is it card? Are you bad at like Texas Hold'em, or are you just bad at like what are you bad at? I've never enjoyed playing cards that much. Like at a casino,
I'll play blackjack, but other than that, I've never really loved poker or anything. If I go to a casino, I may lose my man card. I don't know, but I just love roulette. It's a slow paced game. You can talk to people. You still get a rush from it. I just love roulette.
Nothing wrong
That's
with
it. I'm not a very successful gambler.
I mean, there is some strategy to Texas Hold'em. There's a little bit more than just, the sort of luck of where the ball bounces.
Right.
But, to each his own. I haven't played cards in years, dude. We used to play every single night my freshman year of college. And my friend Andrew, who is now a dealer in Vegas for a while, was playing. And dude, I've never seen a guy I call it counting cards. I don't know. I call it skill or whatever, because as much as we played, but I saw him he went out because obviously he was being smart. And before we all, three of us went all in. And before we flipped our cards, he goes, I'm going to call each one of your hands right now because of what's on the board. And dead on got it. And I was like, dude, you're going to make a gazillion dollars. And then he made $30,000 when he was 25. And he was like, I will just tell you, no 25-year-old should have $30,000 in their hands in cash. He's like, it does bad things to you. Why do you think I'm dealing cards? I'm like, touche, sir.
Well, that's where hard work turns into luck.
True. So Mason, you have been writing a bit more about some fitness stuff, and I've enjoyed some of the new stuff. And you wrote something on, and this is something I'm actually very passionate about myself. Is sort of eating on a budget. And money is something a lot of people think about all the time, and food is the one thing that you have to spend money on. Fine, you don't have to wear pants. I mean, unless you want to go in public and you have shorts, you might get by with underwear, but
you should have a pair of black leggings.
Yeah, you could just wear jeggings, which is but there are things you have to have, and food. If you don't have, you'll die. But people think that when you are eating healthy, you have to spend a ton of money. It's not true. Not true at all. So what are your go-to foods for eating healthy on a budget?
Well, if we're being totally honest here, so I couldn't bring myself to write this in the article, but I've said it plenty of times. So if I ever just hit rock bottom, so if my theories fail and I no longer get lucky and hard work just doesn't pay off for me anymore, and I'm broke as a joke living under a bridge, I can eat healthy, stay jacked, get bigger biceps on maybe $10, $20 a month. Totally possible. Just buy giant bags of rice, beans. And people will say this was in the article, but people will kind of say supplements are a waste or they're too expensive or whatever. If you look at price per serving on protein, there's no way around it. You're going to need some protein to build some muscle. So that can come from meat, but meat's so expensive. I mean, it's high, especially I get so tired of chicken, so if you want beef or steak or something like that, you're paying out the ass for it. So give me some protein powder, giant bags of rice, giant bags of beans, a little bit of dairy if I can afford it, maybe some bananas and peanut butter. I think I'm good. I think I'm good. $20 has got me for the month.
$20 for a month? I can see you. Listen, all right. I think you're being a bit hyperbolic there, but I'll let you get by. I'll let you get by with that one.
If you're a smaller person, I mean.
I was like, dude, bro, listen, you a big boy. You're going to need more than $20 a month. You could eat 50 pounds of white rice in no time.
Fair enough. If I'm on a deep calorie deficit, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I think, in all seriousness, eating well doesn't have to be this over-the-top, organic, all green, colorful thing. Now, those things are definitely beneficial. I mean, if you can afford to buy some organic foods here and there, depending on which food it is, Dr. Mike Israetel has a really great video on YouTube. I think it's on the Juggernaut Training Systems YouTube channel. It's about organic versus conventional farm foods. Go watch it if you care about organic. But if you can afford a wide array of colorful vegetables, of course it's going to be great for your health. That said, if your physique and your body composition is your primary goal, it doesn't have to be complicated. You could look at the guys in prison. Do you think, now sure, some of those guys are sneaking in steroids, but most of them are eating pretty basic foods for 3 meals a day at the same time. It doesn't have to be complicated. Yeah.
And I think that's something that a lot of people sort of, freak out about and think is that you have to spend all this stuff on. Look, if you want to buy organic, buy it because you enjoy the taste. Will I be 100% honest with you that there is a very, very big difference in taste between a grass-fed burger and a non-grass-fed burger? There is. When it comes to chicken, I don't really taste the difference, mostly because I just crock pot it and then throw some barbecue sauce. Or I've been doing this just because we had it and it actually is pretty tasty. Someone left a random bottle of tequila at our house, so I just poured it on, just like a little capful or two, just to add some, and it's not bad for the chicken.
That's funny.
But you can frozen vegetables. There's no difference. Literally what they do is they take broccoli off the stem, they slice it, and then they flash freeze it. So all those nutrients are still there. Steaming it might be not as desirable because it's been wet and fine, but you can still cook with it, saute with it.
How much fresh broccoli are you really going to eat? Most people they're not going to enjoy eating just fresh broccoli. Most people are going to saute it, steam it anyway. So the frozen stuff's the way to go.
Frozen stuff's so bad. Same thing with frozen peppers and onions. You can get those as well. And unless you're having salads, frozen salads are not delicious at all.
Convenience is totally worth it to me. And really it's cheap. So right now I've got behind me a giant crock pot full of just chicken. So that was not the organic stuff. It was the cheap store brand. And this time, so I posted a lot of pictures recently of the frozen rice cauliflower.
I saw that. I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And the convenience, it is a little pricey, so it's not for the budget, although it could be, depending on, how often you're going to eat it. But I, this time, wanted to experiment, bought a real head of cauliflower and was going to rice it myself. Such a pain in the ass. It is not worth the money saved to make it myself. It's really not. Same thing with avocados versus frozen bananas in protein ice cream or Pro-Yo. Taking the time to peel the avocados and mix it and freeze it versus just peeling a banana and sticking it in the freezer. oh man, screw it. Give me the carbs and give me the bananas. Just the convenience is worth it. But hey, if you are on a budget, you can.
I think convenience is something that it's something that we preach against because yes, it's convenient to grab a box of Cheerios, and yes, it's convenient to grab Pop-Tarts, and it's convenient to stop on the side of the road and grab a Whataburger because you really want a Whataburger, or Five Guys or whatever it is you're stopping to get. Crunchwrap Supreme, always delicious. Crunchwrap Supreme. They need to bring back the spicy shredded chicken. Damn it, that was dope. I have a friend whose mom's cousin worked at a Taco Bell, and when they got rid of it, they had 10 pounds of it, and they just gave it to him. And I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch.
Do you guys have Taco Bueno? Do
we have what?
Taco Bueno?
No bueno. No bueno in the Taco Bueno.
Oh man. Well, if any listeners, if you have a Taco Bueno near you, Taco Bueno I like it better than Chipotle. It's better than convenience. Texas. Oh, it's the best.
All right.
I love it.
But sort of getting back to convenience, we always talk about, it's the convenient foods are not what you want. The convenient foods are what you want when it comes to the foods that are healthy and will help you stick to your diet. So frozen broccoli, frozen vegetables, the cauliflower, the rice cauliflower, or already chopped up onions and peppers and things that 9 times out of 10, yes, you might spend a few cents more. So if you are super busy and don't have the time, you don't have to cut things up. Spend a little bit more money to save yourself time, because in the end, time is more valuable because you can make money back. You can't make back time.
Absolutely.
That's for anything in life. You can regain your health. You can do all this. You can make money back, but once that time's gone, and I think that's something that you mentioned as well. When you're on your deathbed, you're thinking, man, I wish I had done this. Just do it, try it, because there's no reset button. There's no extra life. It's a one life game.
That's right. That's totally right. I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
Well, let's get into some fun questions that were not around the last time you were on, Mason. Mason, if you could go anywhere in a time machine, where would you go?
What are common answers here?
Well, that just proves you don't listen to my podcast, so now we're just friends off. You said you listen to podcasts, and mine's not one of them.
I'm disconnected from fitness. Be January, yeah.
Anywhere in the time spectrum, future, past, 5 minutes ago, I guess works. If you could go anywhere in a time machine, where would you go?
Oh, I hate to give just probably a cliche answer, but I've always just been fascinated with the period between, I guess you would say, after the Civil War until about World War II, somewhere in there. There seemed to be, it would probably be a shitty time to be alive, but honestly, there was so much innovation and so many just crazy things at the time happening. I just feel like it would have been a really cool time to be a thinker in that time.
Yeah, and Teddy Roosevelt, duh.
Have you read River of Doubt?
I have not. Teddy stuff is on the list this year. I have a bunch of Brené Brown stuff coming in now. So,
yeah, definitely check that out. It's by Candace Millard. Oh, it's so good.
All right. Mason, what's the last new thing you've tried?
Last new thing?
Yeah. Food, drink, sex position, video game. Last new thing you tried in life?
Oh, man. This is tough. This is tough. I'll cop out here and say I was very so you're sitting on top of a bookshelf and just books. I love physical books forever. I was always just anti ebook and reading on digital formats. I hated it. Wouldn't do it. And then someone got me a Kindle for Christmas, and it's changed my life. I love the Kindle. I don't know why. I mean, everyone says, why not just read on the iPad? I'm like, well, because I'll exit out of that book and I'll get on Facebook or something else. The Kindle, I just seem to do nothing but read. It seems like I read so much faster. The note taking is phenomenal. So I'm converted. If I read any fiction, it's going to be a physical book. But any kind of nonfiction, which I don't read a ton of right now, but any nonfiction on the Kindle is a game changer.
Why, or I guess how has it made note-taking better for you? How has it made your life better than having a physical book?
So before, with a physical book, I had what was probably just a terrible system. I tried a lot of stuff like earmarking or putting sticky notes or doing this or taking the notes as I went. But I felt like it really slowed my reading process down. And two, I never went back to them. I just found myself, I have no clue who I got this from, so I can't give credit. But it was like, basically take all your notes from a book, put them on one sheet, like laminate that, keep all those laminates or all those sheets together in one spot, and then go back and review your notes on a book just every once in a while. So it's like, oh, yeah, that'd be great. That's a great idea. I've got probably 30, 40 books cataloged in there that I've never looked at. I've never looked at those notes. So now, like when I take these notes on the Kindle, it puts them into, which their system isn't great either, but it's, I can go to it straight off my web browser. I can pull things from there. It's organized. Okay. You can export it and put it into Evernote, and I could organize it. But really, I'll use the find function and find exactly what I'm looking for in there. And I seem to remember everything better, and I seem to reference it a lot more and go back and look at it a lot more.
Right.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I do like that idea. I usually try and do that, and then I forget. Or a book will like inspire articles for like a week, and then I'm just like done. Like there's nothing left. I've like sapped it all out. But I still have things highlighted and underlined. I'm still waiting for my wife to finish The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, because I was like, I want to highlight things, and then you underline things, and I want to see where the differences are, where our brains add up, or if we found the same things moving. Mason, if you could max out your credit card at any store, where would you max your credit card out at?
I'm not a big shopper. I hate clothes. I hate shoes. I hate that kind of stuff. I love food. Does that count? Can I?
Food totally counts.
Yeah. Can I just become a hoarder? I mean, I can't eat it all. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have to do something extravagant if I'm maxing out my credit cards. Man, I would definitely, this will just be such a boring answer. I'm sorry. I would buy new living room furniture. I have the most uncomfortable. This is a good answer because this will let me give some fitness advice too. So I have the most uncomfortable furniture ever. It just, so for the past year, I've had low back issues, the tightest hips. If I did squats or deadlifts, I would be in pain. It would take me forever to loosen up, to get warmed up. And then I realized, well, I work from home so much. Even at my other job, I worked from home, a majority of the week. And I realized it was from sitting on my uncomfortable furniture. So probably over the last 6 months, I've started standing up more. I'm talking to you right now, standing up. And it has changed my life. My hips feel so much better. It's unreal how much it helps. I always thought, oh yeah, that makes sense. Sure, sitting's the devil, but man, I just don't want to stand up. But it really is so worth it.
Dude, it's been, having a standing desk for the last year has been really good for me. It is important though that for anyone who's listening, you do need to sit down occasionally so you can sort of let some of those muscles rest a little bit. I've noticed some, which is weird that I should have tight hip flexors, but they are a little, either they're a little tight. I got some like my IT band gets weirdly tight, and it makes me feel like my adductors are tight, which they're probably also tight. But it also does weird things where like it starts to affect like under muscles, like up in my groin, and then like that like radiates over a little bit, and I'm worried that my balls are in pain, and then it's like, oh God, what's going on? Like, yeah. So I've been trying not to sit as much as well. But the problem with working at home, and I know you experienced this as well, and other people who are listening who work at home, like you just get into a funk sometimes where you can't do anything and you got to go to a coffee shop. And then for like 2 weeks, you're crushing work at a coffee shop, and then your hips are tight and you feel like shit.
Yep. I know. It's really, I guess, part of the downsides. It's the downside of getting fitter. The stronger and more fit you become, the more weight you can handle and the more advanced exercises you can do. And it really just bangs your body up over time. But I guess one, you have to really pay attention and put in the prehab and rehab work and do the mobilization tool, use all that stuff and take care of your body. And just know the more fit you become, the more of that stuff you have to do. It kind of comes with the territory. And I think a lot of us neglect that for a long time,
Yep. I can agree with that. One of the big things I've been harping on my clients as well and myself is ankle mobility. That a lot of your issues can start from the ground up. So, putting in ankle stretches into every workout, making sure they're doing those every time. So they're important.
Yep.
And the world's greatest stretch is fantastic too.
One more, if I get to max my credit card out at 2 spots, unless Rogue Fitness makes furniture now, which they might, I would get a reverse hyper. So if you have access to a reverse hyper and you have low back pain, it's a game changer. If you don't, you can set one up with a BOSU ball. Just Google like BOSU ball on a plyo box or bench or something like reverse hyper BOSU ball or exercise ball. And you can kind of rig one up at your gym, but it's really, it's changed the game for me. Standing up, doing some reverse hyper work on a ball like that, game changer.
All right. I had one, Tanner's old gym had one of those, and I could like barely do like there was no plates on it. Like whatsoever. Like those, like you're thinking like, oh yeah, this is nothing. No, dude, this shit's like it. Yeah. It don't play around.
Someone came up to me the other day as I'm dripping a puddle of sweat on the floor, and because you're gonna look weird doing it, but they come up and they're like, what are you doing? Kind of like poking fun at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, this is no joke. Hop on here and give this a try. And they changed their mind pretty quick, but
yeah.
It's no joke.
Yeah, it's for anyone who doesn't know, I'll have a link in the show notes so you can sort of see a video. But like it's kind of like your legs are dangling over a cliff, and you've got like your 2 hands on like 2 roots hanging out of the ground. But instead of pulling yourself up to save your life, you just swing your ass and like your hamstrings, and it just basically lights you on fire.
Yep. It's a great visual depiction there.
Sometimes I have my moments with my brain, but yeah, that was I like this. Just kind of how you look like you're trying to save yourself. Mason, with the changes you've had and where you've come and what you've done since the very first time you came on was like, God, almost 2 years ago, and from there, and then a couple of Coaches Corners episodes that you were on. What have you learned along this process that for you is the most important value that you try to display to your readers and your clients?
I would say, I don't know if you would call it a value, but being honest with yourself, remaining true, being self-aware, if you just self-acceptance, maybe, if I could put it all into one word, maybe self-acceptance. Just know that you can only change so many things about yourself. That very few people will make just a 180 complete turnaround and just become a totally new person. That's that's the anomaly, that's not going to happen for most people. So you really, pick and choose those battles and pick and choose those things you really want to change, and know that it's going to take a long time. Know that, the stuff doesn't happen overnight, especially in the fitness industry, or especially, making physiological changes and changes to your body. Stuff takes a long time. And, if you just have to avoid delusion and not be delusional about what you can do and what you're going to be able to change.
How do you avoid delusion? Because it's very hard for anyone who's probably not in the fitness industry. And it's probably true in any industry. I mean, you see these get rich quick people, and God, if you go to YouTube at all, you probably see Tai Lopez. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I don't know. I won't speak bad about it, but you just get that okay,
right? Yeah,
and it can be very easy to become disillusioned, no matter your goal. How do you prevent that?
I think this is probably a multifaceted answer. Where one, I have a really good support system, so I surround myself with people who keep me grounded, keep me real, keep me focused on the right things. Don't let me get too far off track. And two, just educating myself and continuing that education and knowing. I think with that comes the responsibility of knowing who and where I'm getting my information from. So, kind of like we're saying already, there's only so much to be said in every space. So you can pretty easily learn who you want to listen to, who's a reliable source, and who you probably want to stay away from, like the Tai Lopez's of the world.
I don't know any. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's selling shit. It's just he's promoting a rock star sort of mentality, which is totally fine. Not like, listen, everybody loves a good rock star, but I think it is.
Yeah.
To go with rock star mentality, who didn't start a garage band when they were a kid or pick up a guitar and think, I'm going to be the next Bob Dylan or, whoever. Like, you pick it up and you want to be the next Dave Grohl. You'll be the next Nirvana. Like, you're going to be the guy, the voice. And, your parents think you're delusional, and most people probably think you're delusional. But, it's very easy to jump on those sort of things and go down that path and end up somewhere,
Right. That's really a perfect example of what I mean by being self-aware and staying true to yourself. I know that I don't want to have a library in my garage with 2 Lambos like Tai Lopez. So why would I really,
yeah.
Okay, don't get me wrong. That would be cool, but. No, yeah, don't get me wrong. That would be cool. I would take 2 Lambos. But, so, okay, let me back up here. One thing, a project has presented itself in my new ventures since coming back, to where I've got an opportunity to partner with someone and build a business that would probably scale very quickly and could grow, could be a 7-8 figure business down the road. Who knows? But is that really what I want? No. I learned one thing I learned about myself in this journey is I don't like managing other people. I don't like having a team that's too far beyond myself. So going back to the lifestyle business, doing that would be a bad decision for me. Building a massively scalable business would be a terrible decision for me and my happiness. So knowing that about myself and sticking to that is a super important value to me. And I think to instill that in a lot of people would be a powerful thing.
So we'll I'll sort of end it here on just a couple more questions before we wrap up and go into the DLC episode, which you guys can grab at sidequestfitness.com/DLC. You get every DLC episode that has happened so far. Mason, Mike Sweetman, Carter Good, Alex Mullen, where we geek out on coffee. Everyone who's been on, you'll get those as well. But Mason, you said something about self-awareness, which I think is something that many of us struggle with. And it's something that, and I can only talk from my experience, that I've realized and learned by writing every day for almost 2 years, is that when I write, I become aware of what I believe and how I think and how I feel and where my brain is going. And it's the same thing when you start to track calories, because you start to see, you become more self-aware of where your trip-ups are. You become self-aware of what you eat, what you should improve upon. What is the one question that you've asked yourself or ask yourself every day that keeps you self-aware for what your goals are in life?
It's a good question. I think really the first question that pops into my mind is this, are you happy? Is this making you happy? Is this fulfilling? And I don't know if that necessarily, it could relate to fitness. If you think your goal is, I want to get extremely lean and I want to get a 6-pack for the summer, but you get massive enjoyments, at least for right now, a massive amount of joy from eating, not in an unhealthy way. But you like food and you're a foodie. Those two things don't necessarily correlate. And if you get more joy from food, and you can achieve a really great physique while eating lots of great food, will you get a 6-pack and be able to be a foodie who experiments with all kinds of crazy food? That's going to be tough. But I think knowing what makes you happy and asking yourself daily, is what I'm doing, is this what I want to be doing? Is this, is the juice, or is it worth the squeeze?
Yeah. I think that's, are you happy is a great question to ask. So Mason, are you happy?
Happier than I've ever been.
Good to hear. Man, now that I asked that question, it's like I want to go even deeper, but we gotta end it here and go into the DLC episode. But for everyone who's listening, I would challenge you to think about that question and then dig deeper. Are you happy? And if you are, why? If you're not, why not? And then continue to dig deep in that and to really. I've written about it before, and I've talked about it. That pain is the harbinger of truth, and it sucks to address those painful things, but so much healing will come from that and allow you to get away from that pain that you feel, that it will make your life better. Or, since I'm a nerd and a geek, and I talk about Joseph Campbell all the time, in the words of Joseph Campbell, the treasure that you seek is in the cave you fear the most. So fucking kill that dragon. Fucking kill that dragon. You got to attack that dragon. Jordan Peterson, baby. Jordan Peterson. But yeah, so Mason, thank you so much for coming on and dropping some heat on this episode. I'll have links for where people can find you as well on the internet. And let's not take another year or so to get you back on. Keep writing, brother, dude. I enjoy the stuff you keep putting out. So don't stop.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Robbie.
Step up and you gotta get it fitness. Host Rob at the moment and the quest is, you gotta check it and wreck it. You're breaking personal records, and with the help of the guests you won't be guessing on the lessons. That's a +5 fierce. Got a low-key bamf right here. You wanna meet him, there's no better way to greet him than to strike a boss pose. Take a look into the mirror.